Hello, Fox Connecticut News has a whole bunch of people tied to their stories on cases where they have the judicial branch officers and the corrections officers involved with organized crimes with them, and with former director of the FBI Robert Luskin, with a Thaddeus Grabowski, and with an Allison Mulcahy, and people that said they're sexually intimately tied, yelled it out to make it look like they were tied to me. At the same time, I'm Mike DeMay and Adam DeMay are involved with some Mendez brothers, involved also fake police report at the Wethersfield police station, fake conversation with me ever, fake transcripts rolls at the Wethersfield police station, Mendez police, also next to Fox Connecticut News in Hartford, and WFSB pretended fake conversations with me also, and about the World Trade Center attack while I caught them for forcing a child abuser, leader of kids. That's what's actually recorded. They have these rules intercities with their whole careers are kept criminally foreign influence, tactical illusions, raw, identity theft, fraud, slanders, collusions with all natures of crime scenes. They have Marines also. There's a Jay Salvatore. I don't know him. I never had a word of conversation with him. He's one of the ones at Central Connecticut State University involved with their roles with Saudi attackers. And with the Wethersfield Police Department attached me to fake conversations with that Mendez police. He has Saudis and collusions with them, with a Demora family that forced Saudis to collusions with them with a Scalora family, and their roles with the FBI director Robert Luskin, and multiple right through administrations. They've been putting fake transcripts, making them self-value that um, roles too, because those are collusion slash S that are used by a breaching method to keep others, ourselves, blamed for things that it causes and keeps. Like how it effectively used the World Trade Center attack to have people use words like extremism and radical so they could get away with their roles with predicate acts methods. All kinds of evidence is racketeering worse than war crimes. Sandy Hook campuses also has a Sandy Hook promise, making advertisement placements dishonestly as collusions preventing mandated law, with more names with the Sandy Hook campuses involved with sexual medical offenders of kids and with the sale of guns and other their roles with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, not legit the way they were pretending. The Marines, the other police forms involved, the Air Force. Paul Kelly is recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed involved with the Mark Violet all along Route 175 from old Wethersfield locations, and with his educators. I don't even know them. I never had a class with Mark Violet or Mike Violet. They have collusions with a bunch of people next to Hartford Hospital with the foreign and domestic intelligence involved, also with World Trade Center predicate acts, as like with WFSB per them. That's but they're preventing writing because they've been putting fake transcripts, fake writing. They use crime methods of putting falsified police reports, arrays of falsified police reports, switch the officers' names, and make confessions about that and pretend it's not a confession, as their rules with extortion, predicate acts methods, whole methods of predicate acts. They put fake phone transcripts too, and change phone transcripts, change digital evidences, hide them. Whiting Forensics has roles with Facebook, also with sexual medical offenders, leaders of kids, and people involved with the guns, and pretending to be against such. See, they're using the sense and sensibility. They have victims advocates involved with overt criminal enterprises, involved with the Sandy Hook people. We have to get the victims advocates onto paper with the interbranch forging and switching names. They have retired and standing judges, prosecutors. We need to get the difference of the corruption of the retired judges or the standing is what forgiveness is about, because they are only capable of it too, because they have replaced what James Madison and what our founders had declassified for themselves after their lifetimes, because no one had free speech. And nature itself showed us that since we were little kids, Americans tried to speak about how we don't have a free speech, everyone's fake, when they put, we're supposed to have, when they speak about the principles of America, they have abridged principle treatments. When they read the actual syntax of the law, they're leaving out exceptions, exception nature, valuing that. What? Because they're being used remotely, right? Where they don't value it. But then but that's my motivation. In other words, get them on paper. You can't do that. You can't do this. Yeah, you fix the fake databases now. Yeah, they painted themselves in corners, the whole careers of people, intercities. Central Connecticut State University, the difference of the guilt at the location or next to it. Since I was a kid, they're increasingly involved with recorded predicate acts, methods, and names that will tell you they faked the whole conversations between us, including, in other words, by having sometimes one they'll have someone you never only see one, you never even see them, you don't even know what they look like in your entire life, you don't never met them. They'll pretend other because they timed you one time and said something, like someone timed me. I don't know who even said it in a cafeteria. And in other words, years ago, about Central Connecticut State University in the Britain, Connecticut, has rolls of people from my grammar school involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders. Increasingly, Mr. Burstein, that used to live on Fairlane Drive, is involved with the FBI and Wethersfield Police, with other police departments, overt criminal enterprises and private ones, and people at the campuses behind my back, putting fake things in databases. As people involved with the courts, all sides of criminal and civil cases that they were involved with, and the courts at the same time were planting the same sequence shifts and collusions with them, also with names with the corrections offices and judicial branch offices at the same time with overt criminal enterprises and private ones. These are not legitimate roles with unmarked police forms with intelligence agencies, as they are actually recorded involved with triages across the country and across the countries. Right through world wars, psychiatry was criminally foreign influence, tactical delusions raw. They have all kinds of collusions with organized crimes, all kinds of methods of them. A Leahy family has their own little girl involved with them, planting identity thefts, frauds, and fake ties, fake natures ties to me with them. They have involved. They have a little girl, their own and their family. That's what kind of cowards you have with personally and professionally with a Brian Silver and other prosecutors and judges. They need to fear God, get on paper once name and sequence, and get off the fake conversations with me. Get them off the fake conversations with me. Please follow me into the law, Fox News, and get the police on paper, one name and sequence. And with the Sandy Hook names. A whole bunch of people with Sandy Hook involved with sexual and medical offenders of kids, as the ones involved with guns, crimes, and poisons, knife threats, overt criminal enterprises, private ones. They're not legitimately, if any of that was, because they have time collusion with them with wire crime acts and methods. They really have roles with organized crimes. They unmarked police forms. See those people that live on Covington Street? They're confessing this. They're leaking this because they now, and that's how it's going to be, because you guys won't get them on paper. One name and sequence, intercities, whole careers, intercities. They're planting evidences. This is what's actually recorded on Facebook. They have criminally foreign influence, tactical delusions, raw readings of statutes and precedents. They already know that regarding what they did with their evidences with Facebooks and things in the background. For example, all kinds of the differences of guilt of them, overt criminal enterprises, the hundreds of nations share with the ones that are interbranch. A bunch of names was in the Britain Superior Court involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, instances, relative. We don't see the evidences. They're faking evidences. That's evidences. We're going to deal with the hyper-evidential, them faking evidences, pretending they can speak about evidence. Get them on paper, one name and sequence. They have a girl named Spada who sought me out, complete strangers. They have a bunch of boyfriends tied to them, like involved with two spots at the corner of Town Line Drive and Sofstein Highway. Increasingly, people with Elm Street and Rocky Hill are involved with their educators and with their families, putting fake things in databases at campuses, fake ties, fake nations of ties to kids, with families, with the businesses and houses next to Harvard Hospital, also in collusions with them. Increasingly with the Institute of Living, founded on the campus of Harvard Hospital in 1822, with slavery, because then they then and now are still communicating other than our founders left declassified for us to communicate. The breaching method shows them how they have to have self-guided roles with the presentation of the subjects, the sciences like American history, with the words of people who aren't. The only founder we know the name of is James Madison, and we were directed to understand that, so they wouldn't be able to play these games. But you guys letting the people play the games with the difference of guilt too. Our own side, oh, that's just a good person. Guys, well, bring it before the court. But that's why you guys, the courts have collusions at locations and online, forcing a quality of fact treating nature as criminal insidiousness. slash hypercriminal insidiousness. I am not a lawyer in many ways, thank God. They will repent. In other words, good ones will. But you have to get them to follow mandated law properly. Like Judge Napolitano, I've been asking them. They've been changing and faking, hiding what's actually digitally recorded since before he left Fox News, forcing him to collusions with his Facebook page. It's recorded intercities how they keep the branches of government and the state judicial branch officers and corrections officers criminally pouring impulse tactical illusions raw. So, and a confession years ago by this spotted girl, apparently she was going to turn the thing and she freaked out because the guy was going so hard, so fast, she knew it would have killed her too. At the end of 3 spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, she confessed years ago. Years later, Fred Grisey is also involved with that. I never had a class with a Fred Grisey. He didn't even go to my schools. Fred Grisey is increasingly involved with people on my street, putting sequence shifts, fake ties, fake natures of ties to me, and people with Zion Street next to Trinity College, increasingly involved with the people with falsified police reports, with a right claw, and people that forced him and my other neighbors past to collusions intercities with them, and with an untimely death at Trinity College, and with some police forging and switching names on my street, refusing to identify themselves. And they attached me to fake conversations with them and even ties to them as a kid and as an adult. They have overt criminal enterprises, foreign and domestic medical families, time collusions with them, uses of their differences, other people's differences. There are people from Pakistan. This is nothing against you guys, Pakistan. The people with psychiatry, inter and intracultural, that there are collusion /S with principles treatments that can't afford how nature communicates about principles, because they've been fake integrity, fake principle treatments of integrity. See, otherwise they wouldn't have had left out black pupils, whites of eyes, and how our founders left declassified for themselves and for us to understand that, and how a breaching method reassigned with nature communicates with black pupils, whites of eyes. With nature communicates with a human species body of individual bodies, a different species body than the other species bodies of individual bodies. All group differences are being generated by that which is showing us that it is neither us nor them, but it is all things, while it is all things other way. Anyway, so we can discern it. In other ways, it is showing us, but we are forbid free speech unless it is entertained self-valued roles with those natures of logic and those factual nature quality aspects haven't been used remotely. As countries A through Z, systems tactical ulterior than humanities, but they want to speak for humanity anyway. You guys were child abused by a semi-ancient breaching method, a human factual nature breaching method. Please follow mandated law for Sandy Hook campuses and the state judicial branch offices and corrections offices involved with wire crime, mail crimes, drugs crimes, medicines crimes, identity theft frauds, falsified police reports rolls, identity theft fraud slanders. They're stealing more money every day. They're only capable of it than we need. Their whole careers are kept criminally poor and impulse tactically delusions wrong. Every year since the World Trade Center attack, it's recorded how they're doing it. Increasingly, Central Connecticut State University in the Britain, Connecticut, since I was a kid, they're increasingly involved intercities with the campuses. These are also people with the intelligence at UConn, involved, including the military, influenced by their roles with psychiatry, and people like with the Violet family and a Zano family. I never try to contact the Zano family. I only know him planting evidences with them, interstates. Increasingly with people tied to the World Trade Center attack. I forgot his name. Many tied to a John Maiano, people tied to a John Maiano, and people with the campuses, intercities. That's why you need to get them on paper, one name and sequence. Get them on paper.